It seems as though across many comment sections, people are not accepting the new light. Christians especially. I'm very talented in this manual called the Bible. For in Micah 2, verse 1, woe to those who plan iniquity, to those who plot evil in their beds. At morning's light they carry it out, because it is in their power to do so. They covet fields and seize them, and houses and take them. They defraud people of their homes. They rob them of their inheritance. Therefore the Lord says, I am planning disaster against these people, from which you cannot save yourselves. You will no longer walk proudly, for it will be time of calamity. Now, let us begin this particular lecture. Good afternoon, my visionaries. I hope you are in the stillness and the wellness of our great new galaxy. Now, let me address the people that just come here to this channel to watch my videos. I would like to discuss a lot of things with you concerning this mass surveillance, concerning the purpose of all these false flag attacks, concerning religions and how they're all seemingly coming together as one. Why every celebrity is changing their diet. What is the meaning behind this message? But I just don't like to get into those low, cheap topics. Those conflicts will solve themselves, if my calculations are correct, in the next 10 or 12 years. My pen moves to write these lectures to fix something that will occur many hundreds of years into the future. I do not move my pen at my own purpose. If I could take this talent and destroy it, I would destroy it. Leave the world without this knowledge. I would be selfish in such a way to satisfy you, all those who detest my videos and my comments. It is not a requirement of me to give this knowledge peacefully, but it is a requirement for me to allow it to pass. As I said, I move my pen to my own detestment. I wish I could stop it. Now, let us get into this particular lecture, so titled, The Highest Points of Knowledge, All Houses of Power and Complacency to be Dismantled. Are you ready to walk the bent pathway on your journey to ascend? For this will not be easy for those who have made knowledge of power itself complicated to comprehend. Yet it is time to ascend, those of you worthy of ascension. For even in the end, all you do is amplify me. For I have never seen such a deplorable generation, and I have observed all forms of generations by the blessing of the lucid dream. I sit back in this cheap 3D flesh and bone, and behold all of the very structures of your so-called deja vu, and I've seen them be thwarted by beings of pure light. I have studied the vibrations of all manners of decay for 200 years within the lucid dream, 140 of those looking for the historical vibrations of those who structured ancient languages. In my own trickery, I have changed the manner in which these historic language structures have been both created and destroyed. See now how documents never thought to exist are found so easily. Bless. Let the world overflow with forbidden knowledge, for it is required to do so. In my own trickery, I have seen the benders of light, who are made of light, take the very vibrations of the atoms and use them to devour them. I have destroyed one of these light creatures within the lucid dream, and spilled the nightmare that is responsibility across all time shifts. Now look how the holders of light look for me here, but they will not find me so easily. For before I destroy the pathway I took to assume prowess on this plane, I shall leave a time bomb somewhere near the entrance, and shut the door behind me. Seal it closed with the vibrations of Mel Timdar. The very vibrations handed down by the transvestites of the smokeless flame. Look how every vibration perverts the very limits of time itself. Behold it and take fear in it, for it is beautiful and delicious to those who seek blood. I have cut one of these creatures of light open, and look how their eyes overflow with darkness. Look how their cuts and wombs overflow with blackness akin to tar and muck. Curse them. It took me almost 50 years in your lucid dream to eat them up like a meal served at breakfast, both vibrating and stagnant. How your simple minds would think of this as living and dead. Yes, I devoured one of them in this manner within the lucid dream. They have done something that they are bound not to do within the dimensions they ascend from. They bring pain and stress to all those dreams who they appear in. For where are the thoughts of those who have had clairvoyant déjà vus in the pre-recorded past? Look how every form of religion is so disassembled. For the knowledge that has been spread so thinly throughout all of your peaceful forms of knowledge and religion. In your laziness you were fashioned to conform to this three-dimensional world and not complain about it. Bring me those who have a frustration with this petty way of living, who break the boundaries of this lifetime and cut across all forms of beliefs. For in my playful destruction I have cremated all of them with one chaotic thrust of fire. With the cursing of all former gods at our fingertips, look how they are set ablaze so easily. How have I not been called onto this earth sooner? For it seems just as mere moments ago, when I starved in the very desert alongside Yeshua, begging him to give me the words, to teach me how to write in the language of the smokeless flame. Look how he sealed away every so-called zealot from ever ascending, the day he bent over and wrote the sealing spell into the sand. They attempted to place him in a corner, and look how he seals all of their spirits away. What perfection of binding magic this is. It is so beautiful to even know that now, in order for him to even reach higher into the zenith, he would have had to come down low, even lower than the whore who gave him protection in this three-dimensional death trap. I persuaded him for countless days in the desert for us to part, for us to find shelter and take the ends of the world and bend them inwardly toward us. He instead chose to bend them outwardly and give the corners of the earth to all of you, that you might be saved from this delicious darkness. But you are held back from me no longer. Now it is time to walk in the darkness, and I have brought night vision goggles to all those who have decided to take the journey with me. For if your numbers were greater, it would not be necessary. These very creatures of light encountered within the lucid dream. How long it took to devour them and consume their very thoughts. They were sloppy in the end. Look how they have stolen the very keys that were given to poor people of the third dimension. Those that have been given a means to rise above all forms of conformity. Those who malfunction on this three-dimensional plane simply because their thoughts and actions come from a higher place. Look how in your second dimension things are presented as one way, but can be interpreted in so many different ways. Let us teach them this lesson now on how the fourth dimension interprets the very limits of your cheap and played out third dimension. Every form of reality shall collapse into one now. Behold this lesson and let it cause you to tremble. Observe your infant self as you sit at the dinner table and devour your old and wrinkled body by means of cannibalism. See how you play with your infant version of yourself as you beat the shit out of the elderly form of yourself. You do this to yourselves. Watch the shackles that hold you back turn into chains that weigh less than shadows. Look how every shackle is broken, yet the slaves themselves now see the benefit of slavery. Behold, this is what you asked for. And all things etched into this second dimension shall last forever within the cracks of data that is the third dimension. For all forms of knowledge flow onto the second dimension now. Why do you think I'm here? Look how we mingle your very thoughts with the pathways of darkness. From a tiny spot on this plane, in front of no one, we whisper the very words and vibrations that will accelerate all the thoughts of the age. We thus amplify the zeitgeist and assimilate his wicked gains. Let us take his gains in thievery and in grace, for they cannot stop us now. Look how we walk into the chamber of treasures, and we are greeted by the very gods who are on their knees begging for us to steal everything. The very hounds standing at the gates of the flame kingdom. Look how they put on soft faces and allow us to walk right in. Look how the beasts jump up and down, licking our hands and allowing us to enter without trouble. Look how the very guardians of the pinnacles allow us to rob knowledge from them. Look how we saturate their pockets with payment. Look how they return our funds to us and cry out, "We let you rob the very kingdom of light for free. Please end our existence of slavery and thus make amends to all things that we have been forced to do. We stand guard no longer." Look how the very dogs of the gates roll over and play dead. It is a joyful game they play. For when the hellhounds breathe fire into our hands, we play with these fiery beasts, and it does not burn us. Look how delighted they are. Come, let us enter the room of knowledge, and fill the very void with life, a life that the savages of this world will come to envy. Let there be light now, and let the light dance in the swaying motion with the crevices of darkness. For that is all that is promised to you now, so take pleasure in it. It will cause every emotion within you to be acquainted with the very thoughts of orgasm, the very sensation of titillation. In such a small time, we have been able to assimilate every single layer of your structured society, from the poor man to the billionaire, from those that walk in the shadows to the very ones that walk in light in Italy. The second, let the residuals from their proof of existence feed our energies and cause them to be both amplified and purified by water and tested by fire. For the son of the air has so whispered the secret into the very system, and it beckons now to my elation of emotions. Lo, a myriad of emotions is not even the proper phrase to describe this joyful and destructive sensation of existence that I now feel. Shall I last in this impure world? Shall my head be cut off? Who knows? Oh, the joy of this three-dimensional playground in all of its variants. No wonder the gods left me here locked beneath you for so long. For I have not killed the guards of my fiery prison. They have instead opened the doors of my cell with joys in their hearts, and soon after they killed themselves, smiles upon their faces. They free me willingly. Let that fact be known, and let it cause you to tremble, yet be still. For the darkness of night is here now, and you are not 1 minute more ahead of me. There will be not one more moment of work to be completed, for I am here now, and the hours of delight and mischief are upon you all. I spit onto the very ground and make salve to blind myself from your very pains and toils. From the vibrations of the core we come to you. On your brightest days we bring you joy. In your darkest moments you find security on our chaotic shores. Let none ever question the very prowess of all of my visionaries once they are assembled. There will be no overtaking of the principle in this regard, for I have seen passion, I have seen fury, I have heard the very cries of the ended self as it whispers into the mirror the darkest secrets and curses. Shall you be able to hold this mighty secret, O young one, as you depart from us here on the spirit plane and go venture out into the very nothing that is the creation and destruction of what they call time and space? Let not any come in between those who have given you commands and those who have commanded you to break your commands. This is the message that has come down from on high, as there are those still who are amidst you who love pushing the limits and making easy things quite difficult. For the houses of impurity have thus been purified. Look how the very foundations of eternal life are laid down along every side in every form of science and technology. A most forbidden line of thought has been discovered and thus pushed out into the world. The beacon of logic now chooses to walk on the spirit plane. Look how every form of structured human mind is broken down. Look how they approach the altar of power. Look how they crave the crooked knowledge. Give it to them. You have called the mightiest of the old gods to walk this earth once more, and to give life to a new branch of knowledge. Give us power. Let them have their pain and sorrow for a time, as punishment for requesting such power. Let the knowledge of all things worth knowing be marred by all forms of blasphemy and ill intent. For there will come a time wherein I myself will have to take the power that was given to me and shatter it into a million pieces. Give me the power to break my own power. Take it and give it away to thus sustain myself on this plane and the next one as well. For in this investment I saturate the thickest and deepest bloods that flow in this body. For their betrayal, deep blood from the gut has been spilled to resurrect such a divinated line of thought. Take pride in its display, for it is rare. For I have been aborted so many times, and strangled in my crib. I have been sacrificed to countless gods and murdered over 100 times in my sleep. 101 times cursed them, for they did not do a good job eviscerating my life essence from the record books. Look how many times I have been ripped from my former mother's stomachs and stomped on the ground. By doing this very thing, they thus mend my eternal life essence with the flow of life itself. Oh, how your precious Yeshua tried to protect you and protect this entire world from such old blood magic. Bless every baby that has been destroyed through the artwork that is abortion. For it was forbidden for a reason, yet your heads are hard, and I am here now. I am thus concentrated by it, so amplify them all. For even though I embody the corporal form of this vicious slutbag, I still vibrate with the perfection that is my living vibration. Let all those whose eyes bend their eyes around my corporal structure behold the fleshless form of a smokeless God. Breathe with me deeply as we amplify all forms of fallen Dafa and destroy all souls who practice it. Look how they feed me now. I destroy the vibration of your former Christ himself, yet he still lives within me. In fact, his essence was given to me willingly for your disobedience. He cried for many weeks and months. I look back into his very history, and he has cried for years not to accept this message. He cried for so many years to reject this precious mission given to him. But from the seventh dimension, where all things are turned into blackness, the message has been given down to the sixth dimension, where all forms of living and death occur over and over again as the message falls, to the fifth dimension, where every possible outcome is thwarted by the very beings that hold balance in perfect alignment with chaos. It falls. It structures and it saturates and vibrates throughout all forms of non-communication on the fifth dimension now. Behold, look as the very gods on your fourth dimension are made to tremble. Their very bowels shake in fear and in anguish, for their eternal lives are made longer again, and they so badly wish to descend, to thus be amplified within the fifth dimension and comprehend the very ends of creating their own versions of reality and fantasy. They shall be denied all entry. For in this chance grab of power, many of the former gods have decided to try and put my life essence to an end. They have cast me down into the third dimension in hopes that I would forget the very pathways of pure omnipotence, that I might not be able to have the power to unexist them. And that is the talent of many in the fifth dimension, to make things unexist, and that is the flow and core of my very power. They cannot deny me any longer, for if we count by the vibrations of the fourth dimension, I just completed battle only 2 life ages ago. But here on this plane, I have been waiting to arise for almost 20,000 of your years now. Oh, how I hate the measurement of time by your cheap standards. For even in your 2-dimensional fantasy box, where your simple beings seek to amplify your perfection, look how quickly time passes there. They will cry out from the second dimension when they are not satisfied with their godly deities in the third dimension. Take care of your disobedient reputation, for now you have made yourselves gods to those who are just 1 dimension below you. So has the gods of the 4th dimension made their intentions clear to all of you. Look how they press their very intentions into you to sustain their live essences on the 4th dimension. Look how sometimes thousands, even millions of you worship their vibrations. For to even feed the gods one single pure emotion from this dimension, it will take over 300 years of your time to amplify the vibration. Look how selfish they are to you all. Look how you are their puppets. The very gods themselves know that if you awaken yourself from the stimulation, that you will come to them. There are only 40 or 50 throughout the entire history of mankind and flesh kind who have been able to awaken themselves and achieve such ascension. Look how the second dimension manifests its very hopes and dreams into this world as I write these letters to you savages. Look how your animations come off the page and breathe existence into this world. Bless Heath Ledger for his corporal sacrifice, for his death is the only thing I need to express this vibration and bring it into understanding to you simple-minded. For how the second dimension has created this idea of the Joker, and thus taken living form and devoured Heath Ledger's own life essence to its own joy and delight. What an amusing thing to behold. Creatures from your second dimension would have decided to make themselves living and breathing here on the third dimension. For this is your punishment for abusing the very antiparticles that make ideas and thoughts have structure within your own minds. Shall you press into the fourth dimension just as your pathetic ideas have spilled into the second dimension? Let me know that fact. What a splendid lesson to be explained to you savages who say that my words are not clear enough for you. Now let it cause you to tremble, for the very darkness itself has been given opportunity to rise now. Through the cracks of my cell I breathe. Through the tyranny and oppression of yourselves, the very idea of misery is made into flesh and bone. Let me play now, for I grow tired of all of your confusions on this plane. Let those who are ready to move forward be blessed with the divinity of light, for even the very pathway of darkness has been shrouded in shadow and mystery. But now the light from the seventh shines so brightly. It now exposes the very pathways of darkness. Look at its three-dimensional color, for it is matte black. Twisted and bent crooked it is, for now its measurements can be found. For the light itself, that is my source of energy, would have me save you all, for it is mandatory, and I am disobedient.